Okay, so I went to a car boot sale yesterday, probably the first big one of the season for me. In fact, it was the first big one of the season for me. I've been to a couple of small ones before, and I got a bag of stuff here. So what do we think's in the bag? Now I've got a little box here. I'm gonna come to this little box in a minute. I'm gonna put this to one side. We'll do that one last. It is gramophone related, but maybe not in the way you think it is. So anyway, I'm going to take the records out of this here. Just going to put them on the bench and try to get everything in camera shot. I'm filming this on a Sunday afternoon. It won't be going up today. It'll go up at some point in the future. And it's even though it's quite cold, there are kids in the garden, a couple of doors down, making quite a lot of noise, which is what kids do, and I'm sure they're having fun. But if you hear any noises on in the video, that's probably it. And the birds are chirping away as well, so that's another thing you may hear. So anyway, let's get on. Let's put these here. Might be able to hear some car noises as well. So I got some records here. I bought these. These were 25 pence each, so that's 4 for £1, which means it's about 12 for the price of a cup of coffee. And I had bought, I think, from this dealer before. They were slightly more expensive the last time I bought them, but they were also a different batch. I don't recognise these. I picked about 19, and I then ended up picking another one just to round it up to 20, a sort of random one, top of the pile. So I didn't spend a great deal of time looking at these, but let's have a look. And okay, so this first one here, this is actually Blaze Away, the Midnight Minstrels with vocal quartet. Now I may have this one. I've no idea if I've got this one really, but I do know I've got Blaze Away on another. Oh, is it an Edison Bell radio? I don't know. I have played it. It's a great what's the word? Bouncy, loud, exciting track. So it'd be interesting to hear what this one's like. So that's that MR369. I probably won't read out everything, but I'll try and read out some of the stuff on here. So this is Fall In and Follow the Band. This is also the Midnight Minstrels on Regal, obviously. And I'm not going to have a look at all of them, but yeah, that looks in pretty good condition. So usually when I'm buying records, if I'm going through a box of records, I will actually largely do it based on the labels. Really, I know, or the record labels. I know which ones I'm interested in. This is Broadcast Super 12. These actually these are very fine tracks compared to normal 10-inch records. And the idea was that you would get the same amount of song or music on them that you get on a normal 12-inch record. So you get broadcast, and there might be a broadcast in there somewhere. Yeah. This broadcast here, this is an 8-inch record, and it would play for about the same length of time as a 10-inch record. And this is a 12-inch record, sorry, a 10-inch record that is designed to play for the same amount of time as a 10-inch record. So this is Mousy. It's a Laughing Foxtrot, the Manhattan Melody Makers. And on the other side, we've got Good Night and Pardon Madame, also by the Manhattan Melody Makers. And I didn't check any of these records before I bought them, but yeah, it looks like it's probably okay. Just be nice to get these back into the house and actually play some of them. So we might as well go with this little broadcast next. This is Famous Talkie Melodies of 1930. Kind of guess that's from 1930. That's the broadcast Talkie Boys, who could have been almost anybody. Often the names on these records, they're just made up names. They're pseudonyms. They're not really bands. And so part one is waltzes. So let's go there. Part one is waltzes. And part two is foxtrots. Okay. This is another Regal in a nice Regal sleeve. This is Darling, I'm Longing to Greet You, Foxtrot. Let's put that up there. Midnight Minstrels, MR352. On the other side, Goodnight Friends. It's a one step, the Midnight Minstrels again. Hopefully that's in camera shot. With the Sword and Lance March. This is a Columbia Concertina solo by Alexander Prince. Yeah, it's a march, and I pick up marches. Now this is under the Double Eagle March. Now I have got a small record with this on, like a 5 or a 6-inch record, but this is probably going to be a somewhat better recorded version, as it's Columbia. Let's get that in camera shot there. And marches are good, actually. Marches work well on the sort of horn gramophones. And when I have put clips of marches up, they've tended to go down really quite well. So I do like those. Now this is Grove House March by St Hilda's Colliery Prize Band. And I think they did quite a lot of stuff, actually. So that's on Regal as well. G8891. And we've got the Commandment March also by the same band. Yes, again, the condition looks pretty good. We're probably going to be okay with that. Now this one here, this is another Broadcast 12, Sophie Tucker. Now I think there might be a couple by Sophie Tucker, not somebody I've heard of before. Making Wiki Wacky down in Waikiki, which I'm sure is well, it's a play on words, isn't it? So it'd be interesting to hear what this one is. Ted Chaperon and Orchestra. That sounds more familiar. Now these records are all kind of about 1930-ish. So this one is What Good Am I Without You? Also Sophie Tucker with Ted Chaperon and Orchestra. So yeah, that's okay. And it looks like it's, well, Broadcast Super 12 record. Yeah, it's a Super 12. It says Super 12. So that's probably its original sleeve. So that's quite nice. There's a sterno here. Sterno in a sterno sleeve. There Is No Death. Anthony Summers baritone. I quite like sternos. I don't see a huge number of sternos. You know, they come up. Anthony Summers baritone, and then on the other side is the Sea Road. Now I quite like the way that it says electrical recording, so hopefully this is in camera shot. Just wonder if I should tilt this camera. So I've got a chest camera on today, and I can see that things are not really appearing on the screen. But then I've got several cameras, so it's not so much of a problem. So the Sea Road, yeah. So Yeah, I think the condition's not too bad on this one. I think this was the one I sort of randomly picked, just purely based on label. I didn't look at the actual content, but there we are. So that's a nice sterno in its original cover. Here's another Regal. If I can get it off the pack, off the stack, sorry. I have had the heating on here. It's actually been quite cold in the workshop recently. This is the Arrival of British Troops in France, Part 1. Now this will be a sort of stage production or a studio production. It won't actually be the arrival of the British troops in France, I shouldn't think, but descriptive. So I have to play that one. I have a feeling I've got this record actually, and I have a feeling that I haven't played the other copy I've got of it either. But there we are, Arrival of the British Troops in France Part 2. Hopefully that's appearing on the camera. Get the light out of it. So yeah, I mean, we'll see with that. See if that's actually fit to play. Okay, this is a Zonophone record, nice sleeve. This is a Tears, well, so Rhythmic 8, it's Tears, which is a waltz. Get it on camera nicely. It says Dance Orchestra. Betty Coed, One Step. Sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah, let's have a quick look at the condition. Yeah, that looks pretty decent to me. I mean, what I sometimes find going through these is that, or going through piles of records, is that when I actually come to play them, I do find, you know, needle dings and cracks and whatever that I didn't spot. But, you know, these are quite cheap. It's not so much of an issue. Now, this one here is... Now, this is down at the Old Bull and Bush. This is Florrie Ford, who was a very famous musical singer or musical performer. Now, this will be, again, from the 1930s, or about 1930. This is Harry Hudson and his Melody Men. And on the other side, has anybody here seen Kelly? Also Florrie Ford. So I have some Florrie Fords which date back to the earlier part of the century. I think Florrie Ford was performing sort of Edwardian times in the first decade of the 20th century. But she was also clearly still around about 1930, because she was also doing, you know, she came back and did these things. I think she was just a popular entertainer who was probably re-recording things she'd been famous for previously, but recording them electrically and maybe with different bands and different backing, just because she could and because people still wanted to listen to her. So it's always nice to find a Florrie Ford. That is actually an Edison Bell radio. It's a 1330, but it's in a broadcast sleeve. So there was broadcast, there was Edison Bell radio, and there was Eclipse, I think was the other 8-inch brand. And there was actually, well, I think there might be one or two more, but certainly they're the ones that I come across regularly. Now this one here, this is a Regal record in a Regal sleeve, and what I really like about this one is actually that it's overstamped. I think that's an overstamped Celebrity, and 3 and 6, so that was the price, 3 shillings and sixpence, and sixpence being half a shilling, so 3.5 shillings, and there were 20 shillings to the pound at the time. And this is Riding on a Camel, which is a comedy foxtrot. Get a bit closer. Hal Swain and his band with vocal chorus. And on the other side, There Ain't Many Babies About, which is a comedy waltz with a vocal chorus. Now, next one up's this broadcast. I'm not sure if it's got a sleeve. This is The Changing of the Guard, band of H.M. Welsh Guards, His Majesty's Welsh Guards. Now, we've had a queen in this country for so long, but we've recently got a king again. So again, we're back to His Majesty as opposed to Her Majesty. Anyway, that's probably going to be, well, actually, I was going to say fairly serious, but it says humorous dialogue and effects. So, yeah, Changing of the Guard, Part 1, an authentic impression. So again, not really the changing of the guard, but something that's meant to sound like it. And on the other side, we've just got Part 2 of that. Now here's another little broadcast. I think we'll just rotate it. Let's start on 1. Sweet Jenny Lee, Hal Swain and his band, Foxtrot. Yeah. And on the other side, and on the other side, RB Blue, Just Thinking of You, Hal Swain and his band. Is that in camera shot? I think that's in camera shot. So that's quite nice. Be nice if it warmed up a bit in here. I'm kind of shaking a bit. It's really weird. This workshop is great in some times of the year, but there are other times of the year, like when it's very cold and when it's very hot, where it just doesn't work quite so well. Okay, so this is another broadcast. This is a Cheeky Song Memories. That's part 3, interestingly enough. So what's on the other side? Cheeky Song Memories Part 4. So there's obviously another one of these. Maybe I've got the other one in this stack. Maybe I haven't. It probably doesn't really matter. This is soloist, chorus and dance band. So presumably a whole variety of people on that one. And this here is a broadcast, but it's in an Edison Bell radio sleeve. I think I've mentioned before, Edison Bell is not really anything to do with Edison in America. I think there was a connection way back when Edison Bell were involved in sort of wax cylinders or phonograph cylinders, but they were completely separate. And if I also remember correctly, Mr. Edison himself was not actually a big fan of the radio, because he'd rather people actually bought records, his records preferably, than actually just listen to it for free on the radio. But don't quote me on that. What else can I say? Let's actually read what's on this one. This let's start with A. Fierce Raise the Tempest, full choir of St Mary Le Bow. It's a hymn, and the organ accompaniment is by J.E. Humphreys. And on the other side, we've got Eternal Father, Strong to Save. So full choir St Mary Le Bow again. So this is sort of, might even be early sort of outside broadcasting. It depends whether they pack the full choir into a studio. It doesn't actually say it was recorded at St Mary Le Bow, so it might well have been done in a studio. But yeah, that could be okay. Have to listen to that one. Now, if you're enjoying this video, then please do give me a like so that I know and that YouTube knows too. Thank you. Okay, so that's just an empty broadcast sleeve. So you can see that's 1 shilling. That's 1 shilling and threepence. Let's get that in camera shot. 1 shilling and threepence, or 3 pence. So it just goes to show there were different records for what am I trying to say? Depending on how much you could afford to pay, rather depended on who you bought your records from. And I think that's probably why these little 8-inch records were actually quite popular, because they were cheaper. Has this one got a price on? No, this one doesn't have a price on, but I think the broadcast ones, yeah, 1 shilling and threepence is what the little broadcast ones, certainly that I've seen in here. Maybe, well, certainly these top few. Maybe the ones further down were different. I don't know. I didn't really look. Right. Okay. Columbia record. No, it's not. It's a Parlophone. Parlophone On to Victory March. Again, I've picked this one because it's a march, and marches work well on especially the older gramophones. Frank Westfield's Orchestra, Prince Wells Playhouse, Lewisham, which is London. Okay, and on the other side we have Vision of Freedom, which is also a march. So have a quick peek at that. Yeah, I mean that looks very good. That's in very good condition. So quite happy with that. This one's oops, tore the sleeve there. That's no good. Or tore the cover, as I should call it. They weren't called sleeves at the time. They were called covers, and they do get rather fragile. Anyway, this is a Zonophone. No, it's not. It's a Regal in a Zonophone sleeve. What do we got? Hungarian Dance number 6, the Bombardiers, which is a military band. Again, probably going to sound quite good on older gramophones. And on the other side, I can't really see, can we? Hungarian Dance number 5. I think you can probably just see through there. No great surprise that we got 5 and 6 on the same record. And Broadcast 12, is this no, that's a Broadcast 12 sleeve, but it's not a Broadcast 12 record. This one is the King of Jazz Selection Part 2, in dance rhythm, vocal refrain, the Broadcast Talkie Boys. And on the other side we've got King of Jazz Part 1. So again, some sort of I don't know, popular mix of jazz music, or what people thought was jazz music. I've been reading a book on jazz, and apparently not all jazz is jazz, and people have some very different views as to what makes good jazz. I don't claim to know anything about jazz at all, but anyway, I thought that was definitely worth picking up. No price on this one. No. This one here, Broadcast 12, everybody's favourite from Grand Opera. I don't really know anything about opera either, and I probably should. I've got quite a few opera records. In fact, I've even got some Operaphone records, which is a label which appeared in the early years. And apparently, so the funny thing about Operaphone records is that there was never any opera published on Operaphone records, so I've read. Anyway, this is bits of opera, Grand Opera Company with full orchestra. Again, that could be almost anybody. They just put sort of names on that sounded plausible. And this is just the the other side. This is part A. And then here, the last records, we've got another Broadcast. Oh yes, Make Yourself at Home. This one is Sophie Tucker. Yeah, with Ted Shapiro and orchestra again, but on a smaller record. So the other one was one of those 10-inch ones which claimed to run for the same length as a 12. This is on an 8-inch that claims to run for the same length as a 10. And on the other side we've got It's a Pleasure, also Sophie Tucker. Put on that camera there. Hopefully that's showing up. Okay, so those are the records. So that lot there cost me £5, which is slightly less than the price of 2 cups of coffee by today's standards, or by today's measurements. What else did I have? I had this little box, which I probably should have left over here somewhere, but I didn't. So what does it say on the top? Hammersley bone china. And it actually says phonograph on the side, which is interesting because I think it's British or English. And we don't tend to use the word phonograph that much, at least only really for cylinder phonographs. Anyway, it's one of these. It's a little gramophone. It's a little China gramophone that's been painted with flowers. I do collect China gramophones. In fact, I collect any sort of small gramophone or model of gramophone. These are not my favourite, I have to say. I'm going to have to compare this actually. I can see it's got needle cups. There, I don't think I've got some other ones which are basically this pattern, although they're not marked on the bottom quite the same. I don't think they've got needle cups. Anyway, I'll give that a little bit of a clean, put that on display. But anyway, that's what that is. So anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you've got any suggestions or thoughts, that'd be great too. And if you've enjoyed this video, then you might like this one too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.